So this is Izzy. She's just started working for me not long ago, and she's riding her 7-year-old gelding. Now he's a really big horse. I've only actually taught them once so far, so I'm still getting to know both of them. Her as a rider and him as a horse. But what I've seen of them so far is, Izzy. She's a very pretty rider. She sits nicely on top of the horse, but he is really big, and that always causes problems in terms of self-carriage. And it can be a little bit tense, especially days like today where it's raining, there's wind, everything's a bit loud. He can get quite on his toes. So trying to look at self-carriage and reducing tension, I think, is probably going to be the theme of today. As he gets strong and tries to pull you out that way, he tries to get your inside leg off.
Yeah.
So I want you to feel like you can press him almost like a leg yield stride as you walk. So you can keep the inside hind leg underneath him. That's it. And then trot. And that will also encourage you to make the downward transitions off the outside rein, because the outside rein is the one that's going to give you your speed control. Yeah. So if you try to do speed control off the inside rein, it blocks the inside hind leg from swinging through.
Okay.
So the inside rein for a little bit of the subtle bend. Now left rein says whoa. Keep the right leg better. Pat him with the inside. So you're taking more and more onus off of the contact and more onto your leg and seat, yeah? Because he's big, he wants to give you a bit of a fight in the rein, and see he gets a bit mouthy. So you got to get him to accept you pushing more with the leg, so you can take a bit of the pressure off the rein. Yeah, keep the right leg, push him out a bit, push him out a bit, push him out. Yeah, pat there, pat, that's it, there, super. So you get his really loosey-goosey in the ribs. Okay, then change the rein, same the other way. And it's, this is a trap that a lot of riders fall into, is the horse gets really strong and they take the leg off. Whereas actually when the horse gets strong, you've got to have more leg. So say to get the horse to do what you want to do, it's going to take 10 pounds of pressure, just arbitrary number. If 9 pounds of that is in your rein and you're only using 1 on the leg, they're going to get a bit mouthy and they're going to get a bit strong. Whereas if you start to go, right, I'm now going to put 9 pounds of pressure with my leg, but 1 with the rein, you're still putting the same amount of pressure on, but you're just putting it in different spots. So you can then be a bit lighter with your contact, and then you can work on reaction to the legs. You only put 3 pounds of pressure on in total, but it's really important that you train the horse to come supple when you press with the leg. Good. Right, just check your half halts once or twice. And at any point, if you go, right, the half halt's not working, I need a walk transition, you put it in. Now, ideally, a half halt is, it kind of takes as long as it takes to say half halt, and then you're out again.
Yeah.
But I don't mind at the minute if you have to deconstruct it and do elongated half halts. That's okay. Yeah. That's a better trot. You've got a little more swing now. Yeah. Press the left, press the left. Yeah, keep that leg there. Yeah, keep pressing the left hind under. Almost leg yield out a little. There, pat him. There, that's it. And then trot on a little bit. So I want you to go large and just ride a couple 10-meter circles, but where you open the inside rein a bit, and when you pick that rein up, he just turns. Yeah?
Okay.
And don't worry if it's neat or not. Yeah?
Yeah.
Neat is for when you're in the test, not the training. Now turn, turn, turn. Now pat him, and then come on, yeah, and then turn again. So you kind of open the rein, so you're really direct with it.
Yeah.
And you're like, look, go here, but it doesn't stay on for long. So it's about building the reactivity that you pick the rein up and he follows you. Yeah. Yeah, good. That's a great shape there, yeah?
Yeah.
Now turn, pat him, yeah, and then turn again.
Good boy.
And I don't mind if you have to be a little bit direct with the rein when you start, as long as it's really quick, yeah? So the more the horse then follows her turning and her intention on the circle, the more he has to figure out his own balance and he starts to hold himself up. And that's what we want in dressage, is the horse follows us into self-carriage. Self-carriage isn't something that you just, you sit up tall and you give the rein at them and suddenly they're in self-carriage. They have to follow you into it. So you've got to direct them to how you want them to go. It doesn't just magically happen. But I think that looked better already today in terms of him following you a bit more. So So we're going to go and do the same thing in canter now. Again, just looking at the self-carriage and looking at how he uses his body. You know, it's a big horse. And how we can influence him to hold himself a little bit better in a more supple way, but still with enough activity to get through the movements. So because we know from when I taught you the other day that he likes to lean a bit on your left leg in canter, I want you to work a little bit the counter flexion like you're doing, but making sure that you can turn the shoulders. So when most people go counter flexion, the mistake they make is they let the quarters come in too much. I want you to think about when you flex him left, if you a bit open your right rein, you're leading his right front leg. Right, now push him a bit sideways off your inside leg. So he gets a bit strong there, so I just want you to keep your leg there until he kind of pushes himself a bit up again. There, pat him. That's it. So when from your leg you press and he gives, that's your time to release. Yes, 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 and then ride him forward. There, and then come back a little again. Press with the leg. Yeah, until you can feel like you can do a quick give. Yeah, and if you need to say whoa, it's fine. If when your leg comes on, he runs through the hand, yeah, you take a little pull on the rein, say no, don't run here, and then you find your give. So say whoa, whoa. Yeah, give, there. So he reacted nicely to the half halt, so then you say, right, there's a little reward, and then you ask the same question again. Press a bit from the inside leg, yeah, until he holds himself. And so I'm really kind of like pernickety and detail orientated. Yeah, super. I really like to make sure that the basic reactions are exactly where we want them before we go off and do exciting things, because I want the horse to really understand and have a really good interpretation of our aids in a way that means we can help them when we get into the movements. If the horse doesn't understand the simple things, when we get into the movements, we end up holding them together and doing too much. And again, make a little turn. Yes, pat there. And see how the more reactive he gets when she makes the turn, the less he drops down. So that's where, you know, people can throw the baby out of the bathwater a bit and go, oh my God, the horse went overbent. But actually he was putting himself where he felt he needed to. And it's our job to then show him that's not what we want, but not to get after him too much. Yeah, super. Now see in the turn there, he holds the balance better.
Yeah.
But that looked much more even compared to the right today.
Yeah.
That was much better.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to make a little bit that compromise at the minute in terms of, right, give him more momentum. Like, I always like to think like a snowball rolling down a hill. You know, it starts small, and as it goes, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. And it then keeps itself going. It doesn't need the push at the top of the hill. Mm-hmm. And it's a little bit the same with them. When they find something tricky, give them the momentum to get them through it. Let them see what you want, and then you can adjust the pace of it.
Yeah. I found that the outcome at the end was always more positive. So I've come in and he's been like, he is heavy on the hand, and I've come out at the end with not being confused, and I can then crack on at the end to my next session, knowing what I need to do. My takeaway from today would be just keeping him supple through my legs and keeping him in self-carriage.